For those of you that are new to this channel, welcome. For those of you that have been following, yes, I am talking about Final Fantasy again. So I watched the PS5 showcase, and I didn't react to it because, well, I only had time to watch it like after I got off work, and considering that I didn't see like any surprises until I actually watched the conference, I decided not to like react to it because I didn't really think there'd be surprises, but they started off with Final Fantasy XVI. So yeah, I knew it was Final Fantasy the moment the trailer rolled around because, for one, it looked like Final Fantasy XIV. And so, at first, I thought it was something Final Fantasy XIV related, and then I definitely knew it was Final Fantasy when Chocobos started galloping across the fields or whatever they're at, and then Square Enix came about, and then heard the somber version of like the main theme of Final Fantasy, which goes something like this. Yeah, anyway, so I didn't really know this was 16 until the end of the trailer, and well, personally, I'm more excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 than anything else, but how do I feel about Final Fantasy XVI? Well, while I was watching the trailer, I thought this was something Final Fantasy XIV related until I saw something gameplay related. Like, the gameplay didn't look like Final Fantasy XIV's gameplay though. It's like again, it's action combat again. Yeah, it seems like Square Enix has forgotten about the turn-based, but no, they didn't forget turn-based for Dragon Quest XI. And the thing about Final Fantasy is, it's all about risk. Like Final Fantasy, they always seem to do something new, which yeah, they kept that principle with the Final Fantasy VII remake, whether people wanted something new or one-to-one like the original Final Fantasy VII. But anyway, so back to how I feel about Final Fantasy XVI. Well, I can't say that I'm exactly excited. I mean, if anything, I'm a bit cautious about it because Square Enix in the modern day is kind of a mixed bag of like, good, some not so great games. I mean, back when they were like, Squaresoft, I mean, 7, 8, and 9, and 10 were like all amazing games. Like they even made some really good games in the Super Nintendo era as well. But as for the modern day, well, I'd only be able to know if it's good until I actually play it. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, you shouldn't judge games before you play them, but in my case, like, as gamers though, I'm sure we have that one game we look forward to that we know is going to be good. Like, for example, Smash Brothers. Like, Smash Brothers, I always get excited for Smash Brothers, and then I always get a good product whenever I buy it. But with Final Fantasy, it's kind of a grab bag of whether or not the game's gonna be good or not. So that's how I feel about Final Fantasy 16. I mean, I won't know if it's good until I actually play it. I mean, I'm a bit cautious about this one because I've been really excited for Final Fantasy games and got disappointed. I mean, heck, as much as I loved Final Fantasy VII Remake, I mean, that game, there was a chance that game was gonna suck, but instead I really loved it, and well, I hope that's the case for Final Fantasy XVI. And now, And now for the trailer itself, I mean, yeah, again, it looked like Final Fantasy XIV, but yeah, upon rewatching it again, it also sort of looked like Final Fantasy XV. And well, I mean, as for the characters, well, can't say too much about the characters. I mean, they look like what I expect Final Fantasy characters to look like. Mainly 14, as it has that 14 aesthetic. Again, it's the combat. So far, all I can tell from the trailer is it's gonna be like an action RPG. It's gotta be an RPG. Why wouldn't it be an RPG if it's Final Fantasy? But yeah. And so I personally don't mind Final Fantasy being an action RPG, despite the fact that I've played Final Fantasies 1 through 15. I mean, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake as an action RPG was done really well, as they made that game strategic, as I would expect Final Fantasy to be. And well, there was no UI shown during like the combat parts of the trailer. I mean, so who knows if it's gonna be like I'm not sure what kind of strategic elements it's gonna have. I mean, I hope it's not like, I hope it's not the kind of game where, you just mash square button, square, and then health low, you heal, square, health low, you heal. I hope it's not that kind of game. I mean, and all I was able to tell from the trailer is it showed like one party member on the battlefield. I'd have to look at it again, but yeah, I mean, I really hope there are like multiple characters I could play as in this game, because Final Fantasy, you play as multiple characters, and also I really hope it has a good story. I mean, and also, if they're gonna do optional content, I mean, Square, please improve your side quest system. I mean, like, one thing that's common in Square Enix games, as far as side quest goes, is like busy work, chores. Hardly anything that expands the world or gets me emotionally involved. Like, one thing I want from Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is, like I'm hoping to get a side quest involving like Leslie and finding his girl, and then Johnny helping him find a girl to marry, or help him succeed in his, Johnny's heaven. But anyway, this is about 16, not Final Fantasy VII, but I want something similar to that for Final Fantasy 16. Why do I keep wanting to say 15? 16, okay. I hope we get side quests of that caliber in Final Fantasy 16. I mean, and I hope it's not open world. I mean, I know some people complain about linearity in Final Fantasy games, which Final Fantasy is pretty point A to point B anyway, so I'm kind of hoping it goes like, if they're gonna do like an open structure to the game, I'm hoping they take notes from Xenoblade Chronicles, where as you progress the story, you unlock like new huge areas to explore. I kind of want to send it to, if anything, a pseudo open world game. Like, I want that dose of linearity to where they can, tell the story, kind of like how Xenoblade does it. Like, for example, like once you get past the prologue, it's on the Bionis Shin, I believe. Was it the Shin? Yeah, the Shin, and then as you progress the story, you open up more huge landscapes to explore. Like, I mean, if Final Fantasy 16 is gonna do the open world route, I hope they do it like that. Like, not exactly open up every area at the start. More like, be able to tell the story. Like, I want a good story from Final Fantasy 16. 16, and then I also want this game to be finished. 15. Yeah, and so yeah, those are the three main things I want from. Those are the main things I want from Final Fantasy XVI. Good story, character development, improved side quests, and fun and strategic combat. That's what I also want as well, and I bet it's gonna be lengthy as well. And anyway, that's about all I have to say. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Thank you all for watching, and you have a blast night or day wherever you're at.